something was wrong the night Ngozi stood in the middle of the road, eating a rat with both ends and humming a church song backward. It wasn't just wrong, it was evil. It started a few weeks before that, when the girl came. She walked into Idemili just before harmattan, barefoot, with a tiny leather bag and eyes like candlelight in a dark room. Beautiful, that is not even the word. She looked like the kind of woman that made men forget their wives. Skin smooth like boiled egg, waist small, voice soft like water dripping from lips. Nobody knew her name, so we started calling her Malicha. But later, when things got strange, we called her Snake Woman. She didn't say where she came from, just that she needed water. The village women didn't trust her, but the men, they couldn't stay away. It started with Uche, the hunter. He took her in the very night she arrived, said she could sleep in his guest hut. 3 days later, his wife, Ngozi, cooked okra soup with no okra, just charcoal and leaves. Then she started laughing in her sleep. Next thing, we saw her at night, walking naked through people's farms, dragging a goat, and muttering names of people who died long ago. We thought she was sick, maybe a fever, but then Obina's wife started acting the same way. Then Chike's, then Maduka's. All their husbands had one thing in common. They had spent time with a strange girl. Some claimed they only spoke to her. Some said she kissed them once, gently, like it was nothing. But that is how the cause spread. The Dibia, Pa Ekene, examined one of the wives. He said there was no disease, only darkness inside her. He said the woman had been claimed by another spirit through love that was not love. We didn't understand. By the time it made sense, it was too late. The wives didn't die, they changed. First quiet, then distant, then they started acting like animals, walking on all fours, hissing, scratching the walls of their homes. One of them, Ijeoma, was found at the village well, chewing her own arm. The men cried
God
for
of our
help,
land,
but they
what
were
have we
the
done
ones
wrong?
who brought the sickness. Soon, we discovered the truth. The girl was not just strange, she was not human. Her real form came out at night. I saw her myself. Her legs had shiny scales. Her tongue was long and forked. Her eyes flickered like fireflies. She wore a human body like clothes, but beneath was something that should have stayed in the forest. And she had one method. She kissed the men, and their wives became something else. Some men still went to her. That is what was most terrifying. They knew what she was, but they couldn't stop. Like their minds were tied. She was that powerful. The infected woman, we call them the wives of the snake, gathered every night at the village square. No talking, just humming. A low, heavy sound that made your chest vibrate. They walked in circles. They stared at the moon. They didn't sleep. They were zombies. The children started running away from home. The chickens died. The goats disappeared. The wind started sounding like voices. The whole village turned upside down. Even the Dibia packed his bag and left in the middle of the night. We thought that was the end until the water boy came. His name was Chijioke, a small dark-skinned boy from Umweze village, maybe 13 or 14. He came to fetch water from the Idemili stream, barefoot, as usual. But when he stepped into the stream that morning, something entered him. His eyes went white, like boiled palm kernel. He fell into the water. We thought he drowned. But by afternoon, he walked into the village again, dry, calm, and holding a calabash filled with dark river water. The old women whispered that the Mwamiri water spirits had chosen him. He didn't speak much, just asked, "Where is the one with the snake hat?" The men pointed to the girl's hut, but the hut was gone, burned to the ground the night before by desperate villagers. Still, Chijioke said, "She is here, she's not done." And she wasn't. That night, the wives of the snake gathered again, but this time they were chanting. Their eyes rolled back, their fingers bent like claws. The ground shook, and from the ashes of her hut, she came out, beautiful, untouched, smiling. Chijioke stepped forward, holding the calabash. She laughed, telling him it was too small to stop her. Then the ground split, the sky turned grey, and both of them began to glow. Him with the light of the river, her with the fire of the underworld. What we saw next wasn't a fight, it was war. Wind blew in every direction. The trees bent. Some say they heard crying babies. Others heard their dead mothers calling. Chijioke opened the calabash, and the water rose like a snake of its own. The girl screamed, her body turning into scales, bones, then mist. Gone. The wives collapsed. Some died. Some woke up normal. Others never woke up. The village slowly returned to silence. But 3 days later, I saw Chijioke again, sitting by the river bank, talking to the water, smiling. His eyes were no longer white, they glowed gold. He looked up and said to me, "She's not the only one, others are coming." Then he walked into the water and vanished. Since then, I don't trust any stranger who asks for water, especially the beautiful ones.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button for new updates.